Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 4, Book 56, number 674. Narrated by Humayd bin Abdur Rahman, that he heard Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan talking on the pulpit in the year when he performed the Hajj. He took a tuft of hair that was in the hand of an orderly and said, "O people of Medina, where are your learned men? I heard the Prophet forbidding such a thing as this, i.e. false hair, and he used to say, the Israelis were destroyed when their ladies practiced this habit of using false hair to lengthen their locks." Volume 4, Book 56, number 675. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Amongst the people preceding you there used to be muhaddithun, i.e. persons who can guess things that come true later on, as if those persons have been inspired by a divine power. And if there are any such persons amongst my followers, it is Umar bin al-Khattab." Volume 4, Book 56, number 676. Narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. The Prophet said, "Amongst the men of Bani Israel there was a man who had murdered 99 persons. Then he set out asking whether his repentance could be accepted or not. He came upon a monk and asked him if his repentance could be accepted. The monk replied in the negative, and so the man killed him. He kept on asking till a man advised to go to such and such village. So he left for it, but death overtook him on the way. While dying, he turned his chest towards that village, where he had hoped his repentance would be accepted, and so the angels of mercy and the angels of punishment quarreled amongst themselves regarding him. Allah ordered the village, towards which he was going, to come closer to him, and ordered the village, whence he had come, to go far away. And then he ordered the angels to measure the distances between his body and the two villages. So he was found to be one span closer to the village he was going to. So he was forgiven." Volume 4, Book 56, number 677. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Once Allah's apostle offered the morning prayer and then faced the people and said, while a man was driving a cow, he suddenly rode over it and beat it. The cow said, "We have not been created for this, but we have been created for sloughing." On that the people said astonishingly, "Glorified be Allah. A cow speaks." The Prophet said, "I believe this," and Abu Bakr and Umar too believe it, although neither of them was present there. While a person was amongst his sheep, a wolf attacked and took one of the sheep. The man chased the wolf till he saved it from the wolf, whereupon the wolf said, "You have saved it from me. But who will guard it on the day of the wild beasts when there will be no shepherd to guard them except me, because of riots and afflictions?" The people said surprisingly, "Glorified be Allah. A wolf speaks." The Prophet said, "But I believe this," and Abu Bakr and Umar too believe this, although neither of them was present there. See the footnote of page number 10, volume 5. Volume 4, Book 56, number 678. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "A man bought a piece of and from another man, and the buyer found an earthenware jar filled with gold in the land. The buyer said to the seller, 'Take your gold, as I have bought only the land from you, but I have not bought the gold from you.' The former owner of the land said, 'I have sold you the land with everything in it.' So both of them took their case before a man who asked, 'Do you have children?' One of them said, 'I have a boy.' The other said, 'I have a girl.' The man said, 'Marry the girl to the boy and spend the money on both of them and give the rest of it in charity." Volume 4, Book 56, number 679. Narrated by Osama bin Zaid. Allah's apostle said, "Plague was a means of torture sent on a group of Israelis, or on some people before you. So if you hear of it spread in a land, don't approach it. And if a plague should appear in a land where you are present, then don't leave that land in order to run away from it, i.e. plague. Volume 4, Book 56, number 680. Narrated by Aisha, the wife of the Prophet. I asked Allah's apostle about the plague. He told me that it was a punishment sent by Allah on whom he wished, and Allah made it a source of mercy for the believers. For if one in the time of an epidemic plague stays in his country patiently hoping for Allah's reward and believing that nothing will befall him except what Allah has written for him, he will get the reward of a martyr. Volume 4, Book 56, number 681. Narrated by Aisha. The people of Quraysh worried about the lady from Bani Maxim who had committed theft. They asked, "Who will intercede for her with Allah's apostle?" Some said, "No one dared to do so except Osama bin Zaid, the beloved one to Allah's apostle." When Osama spoke about that to Allah's apostle said to him, "Do you try to intercede for somebody in a case connected with Allah's prescribed punishments?" Then he got up and delivered a sermon saying, "What destroyed the nations preceding you was that if a noble amongst them stole, they would forgive him, and if a poor person amongst them stole, they would inflict Allah's legal punishment on him. By Allah, if Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad stole, I would cut off her hand." Volume 4, Book 56, number 682. Narrated by Ibn Mas'ud. I heard a person reciting a Quranic verse in a certain way, and I had heard the Prophet reciting the same verse in a different way. So I took him to the Prophet and informed him of that, but I noticed the sign of disapproval on his face, and then he said, "Both of you are correct, so don't differ, for the nations before you differed, so they were destroyed." Volume 4, Book 56, number 683. Narrated by Abdullah. As if I saw the Prophet talking about one of the prophets whose nation had beaten him and caused him to bleed, while he was cleaning the blood off his face and saying, "O Allah, forgive my nation, for they have no knowledge." Volume 4, Book 56, number 684. Narrated by Abu Sa'id. The Prophet said, "Amongst the people preceding your age, there was a man whom Allah had given a lot of money. While he was in his deathbed, he called his sons and said, 'What type of father have I been to you?' They replied, 'You have been a good father.' He said, 'I have never done a single good deed. So when I die, burn me, crush my body, and scatter the resulting ashes on a windy day." His sons did accordingly, but Allah gathered his particles and asked him, "What made you do so?" He replied, "Fear of you." So Allah bestowed his mercy upon him, forgave him. Volume 4, Book 56, number 685. Narrated by Ribi bin Hirash. Uqba said to Hudhaifa, "Won't you narrate to us what you heard from Allah's apostle?" Hudhaifa said, "I heard him saying, death approached a man, and when he had no hope of surviving, he said to his family, 'When I die, gather for me much wood and build a fire, to burn me. When the fire has eaten my flesh and reached my bones, take the bones and grind them and scatter the resulting powder in the sea on a hot, or windy, day.' That was done. But Allah collected his particles and asked him, 'Why did you do so?' He replied, 'For fear of you.' So Allah forgave him.